Hello, everybody. Good morning. Welcome once again. Now let's talk about the Premier League and what's been going on so far. It started with Liverpool and Bournemouth, and Bournemouth started the game with pure pressure. I didn't expect Bournemouth to start with that kind of energy, but you know, uh, Liverpool has so many winners, match winners, and they know how to maneuver even when they're not playing very well. And we saw again about Liverpool's defense with his defensive problems. How would they be leading the game and letting the other team back into it. Semenyo took the game in the second half, equalizing, making it 2-2. So it's a very nice, beautiful game. Hugo Ekitike put up a beautiful performance, making his debut in the Premier League and scoring a goal. That's more like it because there's going to be huge competition for that Liverpool number 9 when um, Alexander Isak joins the show on Liverpool. So there's going to be huge competition. So it's good that Hugo Ekitike is making his mark now so that Alexander Isak will have to fight for his place because everybody's just thinking Alexander Isak is going to bench him, but he's saying I can do it. I can do it. So if he continues putting up numbers like this, then I'm sure they are going to share game time. And with this saga going on with Alexander Isak, I'm sure Alexander Isak is going to miss a few Premier League games and maybe he's going to reduce his goals that he scored this season, and he's going to share playing time with Hugo Ekitike. The signing made his mark and scoring a goal. Cody Gakpo doing it. Federico Chiesa, super sub coming in to change the game. And Mohamed Salah finishing it. So sharing the goals in Liverpool and winning Bournemouth 4-2. Very emotional scene. I think Mohamed Salah was even in tears after the whole thing. And Semenyo, kudos to him because after getting that racist fan yelling at him, I mean, he still went ahead to score 2 goals. That shows a lot about his character, Semenyo. While Bournemouth was selling their players, they refused to sell Semenyo, and we can see how the selling of the Bournemouth backline. Although I like to think that the defenders that they brought in are good defenders. The guys that replaced the players that were sold in Bournemouth, they are good ones. Even the goalkeeper is good, but changing that whole backline is going to affect the game. And look at how they conceded 4 goals in a game that they actually played well. Because I like to think that Bournemouth played well. So that was how it ended. Then we look at the Newcastle Aston Villa game, the Aston Villa Newcastle game, and it was very boring. And it's easy to predict such a game because if you look at the transfer window that Newcastle and Aston Villa had, it's been sad, like very very boring. I mean, if the Premier League was about these two clubs, then we'll never have transfer news. So losing of Alexander Isak is telling on Newcastle, even with the red card that Aston Villa got, Newcastle couldn't still break their defense down. So it ended nil-nil. It was very, very boring. But one game that is really, really interesting, the standout game is Sunderland versus West Ham. It ended 3-0. Sunderland beating West Ham. So this is an opportunity to change the narrative. The gap between the Premier League and the Championship shouldn't be that far. It can be bridged this season. This particular season is a season that not everybody's going to beat everybody, and if you don't have a good transfer window, it's going to show in your play. West Ham lost Kudus. It's going to tell in time that they are not such a good team. West Ham game has always been boring, although they have players like James Ward-Prowse, they have Bowen, they have Wan-Bissaka, they have this guy from Germany, Fukru, that guy from Germany. So uh, West Ham is decent, but they are not good enough. They have Lucas Paqueta, they are not good enough, and for some years now, West Ham has not been a game that we anticipate watching. It's been very very boring. I know they beat Arsenal last season, but I think that was like a let off because Arsenal was having his issues with scoring. So I think West Ham is the very very boring team, and I like to see them get relegated. Honestly, anything that is not serious should get relegated. The West Ham's, if Everton slips off, let them get relegated. But I doubt that. I doubt that. The Wolves, anybody that slip up, get relegated because I need this thing to be a little bit more fun. And with the amount of money that Sunderland has spent, I like to see them make profit of it. I like to see it. I like to see Sunderland at least stay in the Premier League. So now that was that on those games. But there were some cool games. We had this game, Manchester City and Wolves. We saw Tijani Reinders, Haaland coming back in form, scoring his goals, and Ryan Cherky also scoring, on their Premier League debuts. That's Ryan Cherky and Tijani Reinders scoring on their Premier League debuts, winning 4-0. Man City beat Wolves 4-0. Then we also saw another game that was it's okay. Brighton with Fulham 1-1. So this Premier League is not going to be it's not going to be boring at all. It's not going to be boring. It's going to be a very good season. It's not a season where everybody will beat everybody. I'm expecting Chelsea to beat Crystal Palace, but that game might just be a draw. Chelsea has the advantage, can be a win or draw for Crystal Palace. So, I just heard that Eze will be staying. Eze is leaving actually, but I mean, he'll be staying for this game. He'll be playing in the Crystal Palace Chelsea game. He's not letting his transfer and his movement affect his future. He's still, man, I mean, that guy is a very good player. I mean, I know he could get injury because, he needs to be fit for his medical, but still staying for the game. So, let's see how it goes because when you have so many, we have so many match winners in Crystal Palace. We have people like Smalasa. We have this guy that can score goals. You understand? We have Mateta. We have Eze. So if all these guys are staying, Maguire is still there. He has not gone to Liverpool yet. If all these guys are staying, it's going to be a very hard one for Chelsea to crack. Chelsea might be favourites because they have good signings, but I'm not sure Chelsea can win that game. It's going to be a win or draw for Chelsea. Yeah. So we also had another interesting, wonderful game. I mean, this was the game I loved the most. Tottenham played with Burnley, and we saw how Tottenham ripped them apart. Could Tottenham do well this season? We never know. Burnley is not a team that we can use to rate Tottenham Hotspur. We're expecting them to go down, seeing their performance yesterday. I know they have some good players, but Tottenham was just too much for them to handle. Richarlison with the volley and the scissor kick, 2 goals for Richarlison, 2 assists for Mohamed Kudus. That's beautiful. Coming to the Premier League, making your mark. This is a new season, and there's going to be very, very big competition for the Golden Boot, for the Premier League Player of the Year, for the Premier League title. There's going to be huge competition. So let's just see how it goes. Bernard Johnson also scored a goal, but with Eze coming into Spurs, is going to improve that team. I'm going to see Tottenham do well this season because Tottenham view Eze as a number 10. That same role that Kulusevski can play and James Maddison can play, but these guys are injured as we know. So, and I like the fact that I don't like it, but I can understand it that Eze chose Tottenham Hotspur over Arsenal. It's reasonable. It makes perfect sense. I think in Arsenal is going to be sharing game time with a lot of people. We have Odegaard. We gave Ethan Nwaneri a new deal, and we promised him game time. The signing of Madueke, very, very weird to me. It shouldn't have happened, but Ateta wants it, so let's just see how it goes. It might be the biggest flop of the season because it doesn't have the backing of the fans. So I hope it goes well for them, both Ateta and Madueke, because if it's not a good year for Madueke and it's not a good year for Arsenal, I don't think Ateta can keep his job. So let's just see how it goes with the Arsenal squad. But if Eberechi Eze had come to Arsenal, he's not going to have enough game time. Unlike we also have Mikel Merino, Martinelli, so many options. So I think Eze is going to sit on the bench a lot. He's going to, because I want him to start does not mean he will start. So Tottenham is very fair for Eberechi Eze. He's going to get good salary, game time, and he's happy to be a Spurs player. I think that's a good decision. Then if you look at the business that Nottingham Forest is doing this season, man, is too good. I mean, Nottingham Forest does not want to be a small club. Like, I think the players that Newcastle should have gotten is what Nottingham Forest is stacking. We have players like Omari Hutchinson from Ipswich Town. We also have Arnold, or what's his name? Arnold Colimendo, coming from Rennes, and James McCarthy from Manchester City. I heard they are trying to get O'Reilly too. So Nottingham Forest is doing some very, very good business. Douglas Lewis is coming. You get. So I think Nottingham Forest are favourites for top 10. They might even be better than Aston Villa, Newcastle this coming season. I'm telling you, with the squad depth and keeping of Morgan Gibbs-White, I think Nottingham Forest is one of the favourites for top 7, top 8. I mean, I think they might be dragging position with Manchester United. If Manchester United is not careful, they might be better than Manchester United this season. So now, 3 games coming up today, but we can say 2 big games, especially the game of the week, which is Manchester United versus Arsenal. So guys, I don't know who will win that game, but I think it's going to be a win or draw for Arsenal. Win or draw for Arsenal, but Manchester City, Manchester United. I mean, they step up to big clubs in the Premier League. They are not afraid of a big club. So let's just see what will happen. That Old Trafford. I would like my team to win, of course. Arsenal should win, but I mean that game can go either way, and to be. I just hope it won't be boring because that's the game of the week. So I want to see goals. I want to see yellow cards, man. But try not to get red cards. I want it to be tough. I want players to fight, and I think Manchester United and Arsenal are really having it hard in the beginning of the Premier League. So I don't know. Can Arsenal take all 3 points? Can Manchester United do it, or is it going to be a draw? Okay, so that's it on Talking Football Daily. Guys, please don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.